limestone caverns beneath the ground. The males emerge first and wait for the females. When the larger females come out, they have to run the gauntlet of many males. It's very rare that a female will escape from the hibernation den unmated. When a male has mated with a female, her cloaca is sealed with a seminal plug, which will stop other males mating with her, so he ensures that his genes will be passed on to the next generation. Up to 10,000 snakes hibernate in an area not much bigger than a tennis court. It's like a big writhing bowl of spaghetti. Even though the sun is shining now, it's not much above 18 degrees centigrade. It's still quite a cool spring morning. One or two females get caught on the way out. This female has probably already been inseminated, but these males are still trying to mate with her. What we're about to see hasn't ever been described by scientists, let alone filmed or photographed. The snakes come out of hibernation so dehydrated and desperate for a drink that they bite and chew snow in order to quench their thirst. For a cold-blooded reptile that is trying to raise its body temperature and relying on the sun to do so on a cool morning, eating snow is virtually beyond belief. But this is precisely what these reptiles are doing. Once these animals disperse, they can cover quite large distances, 20, 30, 40, and 50 kilometers away from the nest site. There are many hazards on the way. Many get killed on the roads. Others are taken by crows, carnivorous mammals, or collected for the pet trade. The snakes that inhabit the limestone mountains of Croatia are also just coming out of hibernation in spring. A male horned viper suns himself. Once he's raised his body temperature to around 30 degrees centigrade, he'll go in search of a mate. Like most snakes, the male is smaller than the female, 2/3 of the length and about half the body weight. He's often more brightly colored too. The female viper is light and dark brown, while the male is almost black and white with a more distinct pattern. Once he's tracked down a female, which he does by scent, he then rubs his chin over her back to make sure she's receptive. This is about as much as there is in the way of snake courtship. At the other end of his body, he's using one of his 2 penises to fertilize the female. They will stay like this for several minutes, sometimes longer. If the female were to bolt now, she would certainly pull off his penis, which is wedged in place with curved spines. It's fortunate that he has a second in reserve. Then they disperse and have nothing more to do with each other. She keeps the eggs inside her body and gives birth to living young at the height of summer, 3 months after mating. These snakes mainly feed on small rodents and perform a useful role in controlling pests. But in Croatia, no matter where they are, snakes still run into people, usually with only one result, instant death. Both the snakes you have just seen were killed the next day by the local shepherd. Fortunately, snakes are not treated in this way all over the world. There's at least one place where they're treated with reverence. A tradition which has been going on for centuries. St. Dominic of Foligno is the patron saint of snake bites and toothache. They carry one of his teeth in a little glass urn. His statue is brought out and draped in snakes. The idea is that the snakes are blessed and paraded each year, and then after taken back into the fields and released. The same snakes are caught year after year. These are four-lined snakes, a particularly placid species. It is hoped that if anyone should be bitten by a snake in the following year, then they shouldn't die. It has worked probably because these snakes are not venomous. The four-lined snake mainly feeds on rats and other rodents, and that does serve the villagers well because it keeps down the pest population. The local youths catch the snakes and parade them around as well. Visitors can touch and handle the snakes, which must be good for snake public relations. Fireworks are set off at the end of the procession. Elsewhere, snakes are viewed in a very different way. Hong Kong is a city of restaurants, and many of these have snake on the menu. The snakes are imported in large numbers from the Chinese mainland and kept alive in the shops where you can select your snake for your meal. The gallbladder is removed first, which is done while the snake is still alive. They can feel where the organ is located and make a small incision between two scales and pop out the gallbladder. The Chinese believe it's a cure for headaches or just a general pick-me-up. There is, of course, no medical basis for this. It's simply bile. Once the cook has taken out the gallbladder, he can kill and skin the snake. This is a rat snake, a non-venomous species. He strips the flesh off the snake using a pencil to get it off the vertebrae. And then he makes a sort of soup, which is very popular. Most people in Hong Kong and China eat snake soup regularly. They say it tastes a bit like chicken. After the meal, the gallbladder is presented, cut open to release the bile, and it's washed down with a cup of tea. All sorts of snakes are offered for sale, even venomous ones like the cobra. This very large old python has killed a Thompson's gazelle. It has finished constricting it at the side of the road and is trying to swallow it. What the python didn't realize is that as this gazelle is a male, it has very large horns. It can drag this huge animal around in its jaws very easily, but what it can't do is get its mouth over those horns. People have found pythons that have managed to swallow a gazelle like this with the horns protruding from the side of the snake, killing the reptile during the process of swallowing. It makes many attempts, but at the end of the day it can't swallow it, so it has to leave its kill for the vultures or the hyenas. A young gazelle could be swallowed with ease. Not all snakes kill to eat. Bird eggs are the sole diet of the egg-eating snake. Once it locates the nest, it swallows the eggs easily. In the snake's throat, the egg comes up against spine-like projections from the reptile's vertebrae. With a twist, the shell is broken. The contents of the egg go down into its stomach. The shell and membranes are formed into a little packet, which is coughed up. Now, the sharp edges of the shell can't damage the snake's internal organs. Few animals can feed on eggs without spilling some of their contents. This grass snake hasn't come to eat eggs, but to lay them. It's chosen a compost heap, which is warm and well protected. It will lay about a dozen large white eggs. Unlike bird eggs, snake eggs don't have a hard shell. They have a tough, leathery membrane covering them. She will leave them here in the compost heap, and they will take about 2 months to hatch. The hatchling snake has a projection on its snout called an egg tooth that it uses to rip open the shell. The snake emerges, looking round and tasting the atmosphere with its tongue. It's surprising what a large snake you can get in such a small egg. 17 centimeters of snake in 2 centimeters of egg. It must be very tightly coiled up. In a day or two, it sheds its skin, then leaves the safety of the compost heap for the surrounding countryside. The Malaysian pit viper also lays eggs, but unlike the grass snake, she sits on them. This is a rare example of parental care in